Hello there, welcome to today's video. Today we're doing a movie review of a movie we saw, last week maybe? Called Young Woman in the Sea. It was a movie that you can find on Disney+. But I was wanting to watch it when it came out. It came out in 2024. I'm not sure exactly when, but...
early 2024 because of the Olympics.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So it came out earlier. It was one on my list, and I just hadn't had time to watch it, and then it came out on Disney+, so we watched it on there. But it's about, a young woman in the sea. What was the gal's name, the main character's name?
I don't remember. I just remember that it was played by Daisy Ripley.
Daisy Ridley. So Gertrude
Ederle, who was an American swimmer, who she originally had, I think it was smallpox or one of the pox, or maybe it was measles. I don't remember. Whichever one.
I think it was measles.
Whichever one you're not supposed to get in the water after you have it. And her mom just really wanted all the kids to learn to swim, but because of having measles, smallpox, whatever she had, she couldn't do that. And so she kept pushing, and finally they let her swim, which meant that over the extended period of her life, she actually did lose her hearing, which I think is kind of cool that she didn't let that really stop her. She used it to teach deaf children to swim. Using her disability for good.
Yeah. But it's based on a true story. They took a couple liberties, but it was kind of fun to watch and then also look up, stuff on Google as far as like what actually happened and what was different and what was the same. So I really enjoyed the movie. It was not a movie I'd rush back to see right away, but I thought it was good. I mean, you mentioned you thought the pace was too slow.
Yeah, I thought it was really slow, and it's definitely one of those movies that is supposed to be just kind of a nice, chill, feel good-ish movie. And I really felt like it hit those boxes, but it was very slow paced. It's not a super exciting story. You can only make movies that are mildly exciting for so long. Definitely along the lines of I can't even compare it to anything. I mean, I would argue that it's like Seabiscuit, but even Seabiscuit had a little more action.
I know Seabiscuit.
Okay, well, you should probably watch Seabiscuit. But it's just really slow. It technically, I think, falls in the vein of old sports films like Remember the Titans or Radio, where the whole overall arching theme is that it's decently good minus the one bad thing, right? But those movies are just so action packed, I think, because they're a more action packed sport, and there's other things that can go into this had nothing going for it. It's literally just a movie about her wanting to swim, and then eventually she swims the English Channel, which she's not the first woman to do it, but she was the first woman to successfully do it, and she broke the record in 1925 or 26. I can't remember which, but anniversary sometime now. But overall, it wasn't a bad movie. I mean, if I had to give it a rating out of 5, I would probably give it a 2. Maybe.
Oh, I'd give it much higher than that.
Maybe a 2.5. It didn't do it for me. I mean, it was a movie. It happened. It's a nice chill movie. It's definitely one that I would play at school. And the kids at school know this. When we say movie day, unless it's related to something we're doing in class, if we just have extra time or whatever, I play the slowest, longest movie ever. And this is definitely one that I would play. The kids would be like, why?
I really enjoyed it. Like I said, though, I wouldn't rush out to see it again, but I like sports type movies, and the build up and the storyline progression. It started off as her as a kid being sick, and then she got better almost immediately. I don't know how quickly she actually got better in real life, but she had a bad fever. They thought the worst, and then all of a sudden she came downstairs and was in the movie. She came downstairs, said she was hungry, and she started progressively getting better. But I really enjoyed it. It was cool to see Disney's take on it, and I think for the most part, I mean, I don't know the story other than this movie really, and the little bit of research we did. But I think it's a pretty cool story. I would never be able to swim the English Channel, nor do I want to. I'm not a big swimmer anyways, but then to do it in the ocean across, I think it was 23 miles or around there, to swim.
It's basically a marathon, but in the water.
Yeah. It's a far distance, and the fact that she wanted to do it to prove to the world and to herself and her family and everything that she was able to do something that a lot of people couldn't do. A lot of men couldn't even do it. There's a lot of men that tried and failed. The total in today's world, as far as many people that crossed it, was just over 6,000. Yeah. And about the same amount of people have climbed Mount Everest, which was interesting. Or it was right around that same number. So very small amount of people that accomplished this.
Actually, I think Mount Everest was higher, but
was it higher by a little bit?
I think it's
maybe
higher.
1,000 higher or something. Yeah.
But I mean, like, even still, it's it's not something that everybody's gonna do, and I think they did talk about that in the movie. I feel like in the movie they did a decent job of, like, because I can only imagine all the kids that watch this movie and they're like, okay, I'm gonna go do it now, and like they talked about the danger, they talked about how you have to like swim at an angle because of the current, and the current changes throughout the day, because you're basically like swimming for 24 hours. Like it's insane. We talked about the jellyfish, or the high number of jellyfish in that area, which no, I'm not swimming through jellyfish. No, it's not a Finding Nemo situation. You can't bounce.
You bounce on the top.
You cannot
them.
bounce.
They don't sting you.
You cannot bounce through jellyfish.
You can if you're marlin.
And then like also the water is cold because it's connected to the North Sea, which is decently cold. People talk about, or well, I guess a lot of people don't talk about it, but like the difference in oceans, like the or areas of the oceans, and it all has to do with currents. Because I remember learning that. I'm sure I learned it like before I actually went to the Bahamas, but the first time I went to the Bahamas, and I got really sick on this like little tour boat that we went on, and they were like, jump in the water, it's cooler. And I'm like, I'm not jumping in the water because it's hot. Like, the water is warm in the Bahamas, but it's because the current at the time of year that we went was super warm. So, like, it was not cooling or refreshing to me to be in the Bahamas in the ocean. It was hot. I didn't like it. But that has to do with the currents, like, whereas if you get in the ocean closer to, like, New York, the current is so different, so it's much colder. And so it might have been more refreshing in July. And so I think that's something that we kind of forget is like that water is cold. It's very, very cold. And it does not, like the currents change more for water direction, not for temperature. And so you're in excessively cold water for an extended period of time. And that part of England, like England as a whole, is further north, so it's going to be cooler anyway. And I think that the movie did a pretty good job of highlighting just how dangerous this crossing is. But I still could imagine there's probably a bunch of kids that got inspired and want to go swim the channel now.
Yeah. No, I like the movie though. I'd probably give it a 7 out of 10 or somewhere in there. It was. Are you yawning or are you shocked?
No, I'm shocked.
I thought it was really good. Like I said, like it's not something I'm gonna watch every year or something, but for what it is and everything, I thought it was a really good movie. It was interesting because like when it came out, I heard kind of mixed reviews of what people thought of the movie, but it didn't stop me from wanting to see it. And then when we finally had the time and watched it, I just really liked it. I mean, it was good.
Mm-hmm.
It was
yeah,
good.
I mean, it was fine for being a movie, but I wouldn't say that it was like super great. And like Andrew said, it's not one I'm gonna watch over and over again. It's not one that I'm gonna like go out and seek out watching repeatedly. It's fine. I like Daisy Ridley, but I'm very over this whole concept of, and it goes both ways, right? Of using Brits for American stories and using Americans for British stories. Like, I'm really over it. Like, we can't find any Americans. Like, we can't. I mean, like, I said the same thing when the Harriet Tubman movie came out. Like, again, love Cynthia Erivo, but why? Like, she's British. She's not American. It doesn't impact you the same way. And I kind of felt the same way with this. And I was like, ooh, yay, movie. And I thought this lady, Ederle, was British because I saw that Daisy was in it. And turns out she's an American from New York. And I was like, really? Okay, fine. But, like, I really wish that we would use... use more of our American talent. And that said, I know that like some of it is financial. Like you put a decent name like Daisy on there, like people are gonna go see it because she has some traction now.
I don't think I've heard of Daisy before this movie.
You have. She was in the newer Star Wars.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But, like, it's one of those, it's one of those where it's like, okay, everybody knows who she is.
Okay, well,
It's just you.
I'm also terrible with names, so.
But, like, I just feel like there's enough people in the film industry that we could have found an American.
That's fair.
Mm-hmm.
That's fair. But yeah, overall, if this intrigues you at all, definitely worth a watch. Check it out. Especially if you already have Disney Plus, then you're not spending any money on it. Mm-hmm. Let us know what your thoughts are on this movie if you saw it. And feel free to let us know. But I will link Yara's channel down below if you have any interest in book reviews. She does book reviews, I think, once a week right now.
Yep, right now once a week, probably towards the end of the year, depending on how fast I read. It might become 2 a week just because I want to make sure I get all the books that I read in 2024 in during 2024. But yeah, lots of books. I am doing a lot more theme focus this year. So like, celebrating of the different heritage months. So I'm trying to read books that fall into those. So right now reading a lot from African American authors, and then in March we'll do women authors. In May we'll do Asian American authors, or just Asian authors in general. So really enjoying those books that I've been reading. And so yeah, if you like books and decently short reviews, hop on over.
On my channel, we do RuneScape videos, we do reaction videos right now to House of Dragons, and then music reviews as well. Mainly been listening to Pablo from SB19 lately, but we change it up from time to time, and then different movie reviews if we have the time or things to discuss. So yeah, hopefully you enjoyed today's video. Feel free to leave a like, and I'll see you all next time. Thanks for watching.
Bye.
Bye. Bye. Bye.